Idi Amin, Uganda's former president and the national boxing champion, had a famous line: win by knockout, because if you leave it to the judges, then you're bound in for cheating. Thank you so much for being part of this show. My name is Brian, and I'm here to talk about exactly what happened on the start of this week. There was a game between Arsenal and Manchester United. There was a game between Uganda and South Africa. And if the two teams that lost the game use the famous line from Idi Amin, then we wouldn't be here arguing what should have been done, what went wrong, and what went right. So today I'm here to discuss with the mentality bit of it, how teams are really supposed to be thinking, especially getting into such games. If you're South Africa and you're getting into a game between Uganda, who are the host of this tournament, of course, jointly with Kenya and Tanzania, you need to be wary of some of the decisions that are going to be going their way if at all you don't do your job right. And of course, a lot has been talked about. I've been through a lot of pages, especially media pages from South Africa, journalists from around the world, and a lot of pages, even including the Bafana page. All the things that they're putting there show that they're a little bit disgruntled with the decisions that was given against them in the final minutes of the game, which included two penalties. One was a clear foul on one of the players from Uganda, and then the other one was really a little bit suspicious. And of course, with a lot of people questioning whether it was a decision that was given rightfully, whether it was supposed to be a penalty according to the rules that govern the game, whether it was not supposed to be one. And according to IVAB rules, International Football Association rules, and of course, that really govern the decisions that are supposed to be given out there as penalties. A handball is a penalty if the arm unnaturally enlarges the body and isn't justifiable by movement. Descriptions, of course, from the game that we saw show that Masuku's arm was stretched, blocking a goal-bound ball, which VAR upheld as a foul. Opinions vary, of course, with a lot of people. Some see it as clear, others question it as if the position was really natural, and of course, it was really deemed a penalty according to what really happened in that game. All I can tell South Africans is this, that for anyone who's really distracted about the decision, you're 100% right. But this is a 50-50 decision. And when you really leave the decision to the dogs, like Idi Amin says, I'm not calling the rest of the dogs, but when you leave a decisions to something that has more power than you, then you're bound really to get destroyed by the decision. And for this case, I really think that it was given a penalty. And whether it was rightful, whether it was not rightful, there's nothing you can say about it, but just learn from it. Of course, Idi Amin said that you should win by a knockout. South Africa had a 3-1 lead in that game, where they were supposed to control that game, maintain possession, play out that ball slowly, not rushing into, even trying to get more goals in that game. And they didn't do that. They had the game in their hands. They did do rightfully what they were supposed to be doing, and they were supposed to put that game out of reach of Uganda. And what they just decided to do, they just played in the hands of that is Uganda. Uganda has been lucky in most of the games that they have played. Of course, they lost their first game against Algeria. Now they've just come in and really tried to claim everything that they needed to claim in the final games of the tournament. And of course, it's been the first time that Uganda has gone past the group stages in any African level kind of like competition. It was history in the making. Janet Museveni, the wife of the president of Uganda, was of course in attendance. That will really increase the pressure in this game. And remember, she's a sports minister. So really, it was something that was bound to add more pressure to that is South Africa. For all that happened in this game, I really think that Uganda were really very devastating in this game. I really didn't like the way they played. The goalkeeper was really very disappointing, but I don't really want to go and break down everything according to what was played in the game. But my idea of what was supposed to be done in this game was that South Africa was supposed to maintain the possession in this game. And of course, the rules stated that if such a decision is done, if someone stretches their arm beyond in basketball, we used to call it something a little bit more. That is your, I'm forgetting what we used to really call it. But of course, you're supposed to keep your arms within the natural positions. And of course, there's a rate at which they measured that was a natural position, and it was not any natural position with the way he raised the arm. But the question was about whether it hit the lower bit of the arm or it hit the elbow bit of the arm. So a lot of fans out there are really questioning whether it was a decision by a penalty, but that will leave it to CAF. We are not the match officials. You cannot blame Uganda for celebrating. And I've seen a lot of hate coming in from the national team, especially the fans of the national team of the Bafana Bafana. They're even coming out and saying that they should not even be involved in any more engagements with CAF, stuff like that. But that, I think, is too much when it comes to is too much when it comes to a reaction. But on the other side of Uganda, we need to learn from that. We need to start winning games justly. We need to really win games a little bit more earlier. We have the players that can do it. I certainly feel like Uganda does not have, at the moment, they've not showed me a clear style of play. We are really, of course, having players that are having individual brilliances, like Okello, Alan Okello, really, he's a very good and talented player. He can give you 100% what you need to see if you really want talent. But I think it's not him alone. It's supposed to be the whole team. So we need to really pick ourselves up and start playing the good football. But of course, Uganda has already qualified for that is at the next stage, the quarterfinals. And we are likely to be facing either Sudan, Senegal, and Congo, one of those. And of course, the question would be, who would you prefer to face? Sudan being one of the countries that you don't really want to get close to. A lot of the other teams in that stage are really, really very serious teams. So we are waiting to see who really will be determining our fate, especially getting to the next level. That certainly also reminds me of the decision that really happened over the weekend. A lot of Manchester United fans still are very not happy with what happened within, of course, the game they played against Arsenal. And one of the few things that a lot are complaining about is the different decisions that really were not given to them, especially by VAR. And it goes back to the same thing I was talking about in the first game. Manchester United had what it takes to really win that game in open play. So why would you leave a decision to the narrowness of what referees can really see in VAR? Why would you reach to that extent? So this policy of people coming out and saying we deserve this, we deserve that, the mere fact that you had 90 minutes to score those goals, the mere fact that you dominated that game with the style of play, I really think that you have the right really to win the game, especially without waiting for the VAR decisions. I thought that Manchester United had a very good game in there. They are very promising with the way their style of play is really climbing up, with the new style, with the new players. It looks very promising, but I think it is the same old Manchester United that we're seeing, really not living to the expectations of so many. One of the few things that I really think is hurting them is that they've been in transition for a very long time after Sir Alex Ferguson, and they've not really matched, the pressure that has really come in years and years later. So they need to stabilize. They need to have a very constant team for 4 or 5 years, and they need to have new energetic players. I think players like Casemiro do not work for me anymore. I think they should be out of that team. I don't think they really add anything to that team. The only thing they can really do is put on the pressure to that team, because now physically he's not a player that can run, for 90 minutes. So yes, he has the football intelligence, but now there are young players that can have the physicality as well as the mental, development in there. So I really think that persisting and relying so much on such players is something that will affect them. And then it is a lesson to a lot of people, especially with what happened to Uganda, to South Africa, and Uganda, as well as Arsenal and Manchester United, that we need to learn to kill off the games, especially in the 90 minutes. I think I've seen so many of the games, especially with Tanzania playing, and they have what it takes to kill off any game in 90 minutes. They are a team that really know how to play good football. They are physically very. In fact, when you compare Uganda and Tanzania, I think Tanzania physically, their players are well built because of the way I think they. I don't know. It's something natural. Yes, Kenyans look more of Ugandans, but Ugandans look weaker than the other two nations. I saw yesterday a lot of players falling to the ground every single second that goes by. I don't know that it was the watering of the pitch that really was making them look slippery and all that stuff. But I really think that we are lightweight in the way we are built up. We are built up. It goes back to where our game comes from. How do we build our players to get to that level? You will see that our players struggle when they go to other leagues around the world, especially in Europe. The physicality is on a different level. These kids grow up knowing that they understand that this is what it's needed. A player from the championship coming to the Premier League, it's very easy for them to integrate into the system other than a player coming from Africa going to the European League, because physicality is worked on. The tactics come in later, but physicality is one of the things that they really, really work on. So I think Uganda needs to work on. We look like a player like Alan Okello is a very good player. But I think when you look at him, when you see him play, he lacks the physicality bit about it. Yes, he has the football brains, but sometimes football demands more than just the brains. It demands you to come out and do things using the physical structure of your body. So I think it's not about being big. It's not about being huge. It is about how you handle your physicality, because we have a lot of players like Bakayo Saka that are not big players, not small, but not big players as you would expect. You cannot compare Adama Traore and Bakayo Saka physically. One looks better, but for people that have played against Bakayo Saka, they will tell you that he's one of the hardest players to really get the ball from. A player like Ahmad from Manchester United, a young, small player, but physically and intellectual when it comes to football intelligence, he really, really understands how to shoot that ball away from people. The latest addition from, of course, the new teams is Max Dorman. If you really watch the Premier League, you know he's a young player from Arsenal, really small player, but he knows exactly how to handle that ball, and he uses his space. Cole Palmer looks weak to me. He looks lightweight to me. But ask the players that have played against him, then you'll know that he's just looking physically weak, but psychologically and the way he displaces himself on the pitch, he really understands how to really carry himself. So there are things that we need to learn as the three nations if we really were going to have a successful African Cup of Nations 2027, because whatever happens in Chan is a learning point. Whatever happens in AFCON 2027, people will already have judged us, because now they know that we are now ready for the big stage. We've been there, we've been experiencing it, we've rehearsed a lot. Now it's a time for us to come out and really give us the results out there. And I'm really happy with Nicholas Musenyi, one of the officials from Kenya, coming out and saying that Uganda and Tanzania should be ready, because for them, they are looking at a final that has an East African team. It is very possible, because now you have like 3 games to go that can really, really guarantee you a championship. That would be history in the making. So we need to really now focus on how we can build our teams. I'm very disappointed with our goalkeeper in Uganda here. I don't really want to criticize him too much, but I think that we are lacking in that goalkeeping position. For teams like Kenya, I really think that even if Kenya stops right now here, they are really very proud of what they've done, because first of all, it's their first time to be part of the CHAN. Then secondly, they've had a lot of problems even before the tournament in the previous years. They've really, really grown up to be exactly what they are right now. So you cannot really come out and say they've underperformed. They've really done exactly what they're supposed to be doing. Tanzania as well, I think it's a stepping stone for them to even get much better. They've been performing well even in the previous African Cup tournaments that they've been part of. Now it's the time for them to show that they're exactly there. There's the money in the football. They have one of the best leagues around East Africa. They have the best productions when it comes to media. They have the Azam TV that really does good production in there. The stadiums are up to, the standards that we really want them to be. And of course, they're even having new stadia coming up. The infrastructure is getting better as a new city is constructed I think, in Dodoma. So there are things that are really growing, especially in Tanzania, new airports and all that stuff. So the success on the pitch really is something that they really need to achieve right now. And you can say, when you compare all the 3 nations, I think, to me, Tanzania football-wise are really more ahead of us. But on the other side, Uganda does not go out without being measured. They've always been seasonal contenders in there, even if we've had our own challenges. But somewhere, somehow, we find to be on top of the 2 teams yet physically on the pitch, when you see them, they are now looking much better. But Uganda just comes out and just tops the list when it comes to who is the best to play football around, East Africa. We are waiting to see what will be happening in the next couple of games. But of course, the whole idea is you need to create that moment, and that moment is about using the knockouts. You don't have to wait for refs to make the decisions. We need to win our games comfortably. We need to win our games as early as possible, because if you don't follow that Idi Amin saying, then you know what happens. We shall be complaining and coming out and saying that we were cheated. At the end of the day, we had what it takes to win it in the 19 minutes. Thank you so much. My name is Brian. Stay safe. Enjoy your day. Bye-bye.